What's up, world? Uko here from Better Therapy. Now, two transitions that really impacted my life and that I think impact a lot of the lives of young adults. Number one, transitioning from high school to just the regular world, whether it be college or work. I think this is a super challenging time for young people. What I went through is a complete identity transformation because my identity was so solidified in high school. And I think certain people in high school have a solidified identity than others. Those who do things that are associated with some type of success at that phase in life. For me, it was just being a high school athlete that I was very successful in that role. Even though I wasn't like necessarily good, I was just very kind of fulfilled in that role. And then I transitioned to college and that no longer was an option. I did not have any scholarships. I was at a very big D1 university. I was not good enough to play at that level. So I had to have a complete identity retransformation, which results in, I think this is very common, resulted in just, I guess, a general sense of lostness and going in like 100 different directions and getting nowhere, not making any real progress on a specific goal or just maybe like two goals. The second transition that I think was really big is around the same time, but it's going from college to just the regular world, which was almost a disaster for me. The thing that really saved me was going to the army, going to the military, but I graduated. It took me about 6 years to graduate, and that's mostly because I kept changing my major. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And then I graduated, and the major that I graduated with was not very useful in the professional world. It was English literature, which at the time, even people were making fun of. So I don't know what inspired me to go forward with that. But I did graduate. I started working with foster kids and then working overnight at IHOP. And it was just a very chaotic and crazy time. I believe I was still writing with this dream of being a novelist and then also studying for the MCAT because I also had a dream of going to medical school. But really, I think it was very delusional. I didn't have the organizational skills to do that. I didn't have the prioritization skills to do that. And I think there are a couple of things that really would have helped me at this time and things that I really advocate for a lot of people. Number one is either a mentor or individual therapy. I think that for with somebody that specializes in young adults, I think that could have helped me just kind of get perspective and actually realize what I was going through. Because a big problem of that time period for me is that I didn't realize that what was happening was I was kind of searching for my identity and searching for like who I wanted to be, what my purpose was, what my values are, how do I want to impact the world and kind of enter the adult world. And I think it's very common for young people to make that transition and not really understand the magnitude of the transition or understand really like kind of what's actually happening and which would lead them to answering or asking themselves the right questions, which I think a mentor or an individual therapist would help with. The big question that I have about myself is that if I were to be introduced to any of that, mentor, therapist, would I even have listened? That's kind of the, the big thing is just finding somebody that you can connect with and listen to. I think in the end, my big stroke of luck was getting into the army because I was so lost after I graduated college, kind of going in every single direction at once. Going from that, which is chaos, to a very structured environment that just everything was very much laid out for me, allowed me above everything else to collect myself. It was like being a civilian was very crazy, and then going into the army was almost, even though it was crazy in its own way, it was like calm. It was like a crazy calm type of thing. Just because, like in my mind, I kind of just knew what to do. I understood the structure, and my purpose and values were just laid out for me, and it kind of gave me what I needed to transition out of the army back into the adult world with much more focus and much more discipline. I think those are some of the things that I think mentorship and individual therapy could really help with. The second thing that I think would be really useful is finding a group of people that are kind of going through the same thing. For me, what would have been really helpful, I think, is going to junior college and playing sports at that level. That's a level that I probably could have played at. I don't think I would have dominated or anything, but I think I could have played at that level, and it would have been very useful to go through the process with other people going through the same process of the realization that a life as an athlete is, I mean, maybe it's likely, but it's not guaranteed. And it's important to start thinking about other things that I want to do, which I think would lead into other questions, like deeper questions, like, who do I want to be? Who am I? What is my purpose? What are my values? And how do I want to operate in the world? Because even if everything went absolutely perfect and I had even like a career as an athlete somehow, at some point, I'm going to be 35, 40, and athletics every single day just is not going to be a reality anymore. And I'm going to have to figure out how am I going to, I guess, get through the world, or what am I going to, like, what's going to be my purpose in the world? I think that working or playing sports at a lower level with people going through that same process would have made it much more beneficial, and I would have came out of that with less of a chaotic mind because I would have done it with other people instead of the way that I did it, which was completely alone. I'm Uko from Better Therapy Now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.